Hello everyone and welcome to our Filmora for Basics for Beginners, and for this lesson I'm going to show you how you can use color in your Filmora project for videos and how you can edit the color and match the color for different videos as well. It's going to be a long class, about half an hour, but let's go ahead and get started. Now here I have opened up Filmora, a new project. I'm going to go to stock media and download some videos. Underneath library over here, and you can also see like Filmora is partnered up with a lot of companies. So you have Pexels, you have Giphy, you have Pixabay, and you have Unsplash, where you can go ahead and import or download the videos from there as well for both horizontal and vertical videos. Then let me just go ahead and get some videos. You can also find photos as well, and these are all HD as well. So as you can see, we will download the maximum resolution material for you by default. If you need to change it, you can right click the downloaded material and choose to download again. And you can also check the do not ask again, but I'm not going to check that, and I'm going to press OK and continue. And as you can see, you can download other resolution as well once you have downloaded it. And as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and use the maximum resolution and import that in, and I'm going to go for 25 FPS. And I'll play it so that you can see what this video looks like, and we'll work with this video. So it's like 1 minute 26 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and trim it. So I'm going to go ahead and trim it to about 20 seconds so that I can work on it with color so that you can see what I'm doing with it. And also show and teach you what you can do with colors as well. You can also select the clip range like that. So as you can see, there's a speed option, so you can go ahead and select the speed control to either slow it down or speed it up, but that will affect the total duration of it. So here on the right side panel, you will have your video, audio, color, speed, and video masking, AI tools, and animation. So on the right side panel, you can see the color on top. So I'm going to go ahead and use that color over there on the top and see. And as you can see, I trimmed it to 20 seconds. So as you can see, I have created a smaller clip, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And now we have 20-second video over here. We trimmed it down. Now underneath color, you also have like effects for color effects, but I'm not going to go ahead and use them. Or you can just search for color effects. Or you can go to filters and see some filters where you can edit the color as well. Now you need to understand color. So color doesn't necessarily mean like you need to change the color. Color also means like you can go ahead and change the brightness, the contrast, and the hues as well. So brightness, what does brightness do? Brightness changes the amount of whiteness, because white is also a color, right? So you can change the brightness, the contrast as well for the colors. So now as you can see on the right side panel, we have the color option. So I'm going to go ahead and select that color, and as you can see, there's several segments over here. You have HSL, basic, curves, and color wheels as well. You have LUT, and there are some presets for LUTs over here for some movies, or taken from some movies. So we're going to go ahead and first use the basic color over here, and I'm going to show you what you can do with the basic color. I'm going to disable everything and start from beginning for the basic and show you how everything works over here. And so underneath the preset over here, you can have default and custom. You can also save the custom as well. So as you can see, you have none. So underneath the custom preset over here, you can change the LUT, the color. So underneath the basic preset over here, you can select the custom and you can change the LUT, the color, the light, the adjustments, the vignette, and the color match as well. And then you can save it as a custom at the bottom right over there. Underneath default here, you have various forms of filters for your basic color. As you can see, you can turn it black and white, and you can have various forms of filters here available for you, or various forms of presets. So once you select them, the LUT, the color, the light, adjust, and vignette, all of them changes accordingly. You have elegant. I'll also show you how you can edit the color for HSL color and color wheels, and to match filters and make your own kind of custom presets as well that you can work on. Now LUT over here to Cyberpunk 1, Warm Film, Walking Dead, Star Wars, Sparta 300, Rain, and Mission Impossible. These are a few like movie type presets. So these are some movies that you can watch and see that the color filter for the entire movie has been set as a preset over here, or LUT preset over here. So Filmora did a great thing and added this thing, filters or LUTs here. And you can also add an LUT like this by going to your file explorer, and if you were to go ahead and download any kind of custom presets from any kind of website, then you can go ahead and apply those presets over here, LUTs. And you can also adjust the strength and the protect screen tones. And as you can see, once I try to adjust the protect skin tones, it's going to use its AI model and it's going to update that AI model, and it's going to scan the entire video for any human beings and the skin tone. Basically, it's going to detect the skin tones and it's going to preserve the skin tones. So let's say you make a bluish hue effect in your LUT and you applied that to your video, right? And now with this bluish hue, you will also see that if the human character is in a video, the human character skin will also turn to a bit bluish hue. But if you were to turn on or adjust the protect skin tones, it's going to retain the skin tone before applying the hue to the video. So it's going to go ahead and AI will generate it. So as you can see, and if you were to click on that question mark circle near protect skin tones, a window or browser will open up, and it will browser will open up a window, or that window will be opened up in a browser, and a site will open up, and it will basically tell you what the protect skin tones is about. So as I mentioned before, again, I'll mention it. So if there are any human beings in your video and you apply a filter, and that filter affects the skin tones of your character or of that human being, so if you were to turn on the protect skin tones, that complexion of the skin tone or that hue of the skin will be preserved prior to adding any kind of presets or LUTs. Now moving forward, you have, so underneath over here, the LUT, you have the color. Now here you can see you have the auto white balance. If you were to click on the auto, it's going to automatically change the auto balance. You can adjust the temperature to the left side to make it cooler, or to the right side to make it much more warmer. The tint will also change the color of the entire video, like how you have vehicles with which have tinted like windows, right? So it's the same principle. Now you can also use the timestamp or the keyframe. Okay, So as I mentioned before, or in our previous lessons, you can use the keyframes to adjust or add animations to graphics, or adjust the let's say, or animate anything, right? To adjust the keyframes. You can also do that for videos for underneath color as well. So let's go ahead and go towards the first 5 seconds, and I'll just split it over here. I can also like merge them together by right clicking on it and group them up together. So I'll just go to 5 seconds. I'm just going to go ahead and split it or cut it over there and place this on top so that it's much more easier to organize them. And if I were to delete the first segment over here, the empty segment, it's going to delete that and move my clip towards the front. After selecting that, I'm just going to go to the temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and add a keyframe towards the temperature. So at the front, so at 0 seconds, the keyframe has been locked in. And if I were to adjust any color, it will adjust. Now I'm going to go to the next second, so next 1 second, and I'm going to go ahead and change the keyframe and adjust the color. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust it so that it goes to 50% warmer. Then I'm going to go to the next 1 second, so at 2 second mark over here, and then I'm going to adjust it to 0, to its normal state. Then after 1 second later again, which is at 3 seconds, I'm going to adjust the temperature to 50% cooler, so minus 50 over there. And then after that, at the last 1 second, or before the last second, which is at 4 second mark, I'm going to go ahead and revert it back to 0 second or 0 temperature. So now I'm going to go ahead and play it, and as you see, the color of the temperature, so it went warmer, cooler, then warmer, then again reverted back to 0. So it changed with the keyframes. So I did not add anything in the last second because I wanted to add a transition there. So I'm going to add a transition over here and then change the time to 1 second. Now I'll just play it so that you can see what's happening. As you can see, that happened. Now I'll just add another dissolve and also put it to 1 second. There you go. As you can see, we have a smooth transition. So that's one way of changing colors depending on the various scenes you have. Then I'm going to go to 10 second mark over here. I have another cut over there to have more editing to our. As you can see over here, the tint also changes. So you have also the vibrance over here, which makes sure that your color is much more vibrant or less more vibrant. And then at the end, you have saturation as well. So if you were to, let's say, increase the vibrance, it's going to make your entire scene for your video much more colorful and much more vibrant. Otherwise, if you were to lower down your vibrance, then it's going to give you a scene, or it's going to make you feel like your video clip is in a post-apocalyptic era kind of feel. So you will see a lot of movies or series, like for example, The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead has very less vibrance in their series to make it look much more post-apocalyptic. Whereas if you were to increase the vibrance, you will find a similarity with Disney type of movies or Disney type of animated movies, where you will see a lot more colorful scenarios. Like around here. And as I mentioned before, Walking Dead or other post-apocalyptic cinemas, movies, or series tend to use less vibrance because color invokes emotions, and you have color theory for that as well. So I would suggest you to learn up color theory. There are a lot of articles that you can look up online for free and read about color theory and what it implies, like on using color theory on your videos, clips, or any kind of graphic related work online. And if I were to put vibrance and saturations to the lowest part, it's going to make the entire clip into black and white. And if I were to adjust the tint, it's going to adjust the tint of the video. The tint is like an overlay filter. Next, we have light, where we work with exposure, brightness, contrast, highlight, shadow, white, and black. And light is basically color itself, because if you have read about how light works, you can see that if you were to put a small little ray of white light through a prism, the prism will differentiate and expand, and like underneath a certain angle, that is, it's going to differentiate the color into a rainbow colors, right? So whites work like that. So lights are a form of color, as I mentioned before. So if you were to bend light, then it was going to refract into multiple colors, and it will diffract and split up into various colors of shades of colors, which you will see in rainbows. So you have RGB, red, blue, and green, and it does not work with solid colors. So if you were to have, let's say, color paint, if you were to like mix in red, blue, and green, is going to have a very dark meshy color, right? But it's different with light. If you have a red torchlight, if you have a blue torchlight, if you have a green torchlight, and if you were to put all of those lights into one spot, is going to come up as white. Now to fast forward up a bit, let's go ahead and change the exposure to see what happens. Now, as you can see, if I were to increase the exposure, most of the whiteness inside my clip over here increased. Now, moving on. But before that, as you can see, the more whiteness increases of the video as I increase the exposure. Now, let's say you have a scene where you have a very less light. You can increase the exposure to make sure that every object in the video looks much more better and clearer, depending on the quality of the clip of the video that you're using in your project. Now, if you want to have, let's say, a flash of light coming in, so you can also do that here using the keyframe panel or adding keyframes. Let me add a keyframe of an exposure over here. So after 0.5 seconds, let me just go to 6 seconds exactly and put a keyframe for the exposure. Let me just go to 6.5 seconds, which is 6 seconds and 12 milliseconds. That is 6.5 seconds. Then I'm going to add the keyframe in for the exposure. Let's keep it at 40. And exactly at 6 seconds, I'm going to go ahead and reduce down the exposure back to 0. And at 7 seconds, I'm going to go ahead and also go back to 0. So in the span of 6 to 7 seconds, the exposure is going to increase and decrease. So I can also, as you can see, the exposure or the dramatic entry type of like flash which I'm trying to give is taking too long. So you can go ahead and manually drag those keyframes and make them closer. You can also go to keyframe panels to see where exactly your keyframes are at. You can adjust them over here as well. And you can also increase or decrease them however you want to. So now I'm going to go ahead and play it and see what is happening. As you can see, there you go. I'm just going to increase the exposure over here to 100. As you can see, there's a flash over there. So you can also use the keyframe panel with color or any kind of exposure or any kind of color adjustment vignette and use them like this to have your exposure like that. I'm just going to keep them as they are like that. Then you have the brightness over here. So the brightness doesn't only increase the exposure, it increases the tones of whiteness. So you have three types of tones: the high tone, the mid tone, and the low tone or the dark tone. So what does it do? The brightness changes mostly it affects mostly the mid tone and the high tone. The mid tone less, high tone more. So what do I mean by mid tone, then high tone and low tone? So you have three types of tones in your video clips. The high tones are basically refers to the whiteness, the mid tones refers to the grayness, and the low tones basically means the dark areas of your video, like pitch black or any kind of like darker parts of your video or clip. And the contrast affects mostly the low tones and the mid tones. So you can make the shadows look much more sharper, or you can make the shadows look much more visible, like you can see through the shadows. If I were to decrease the total amount of shadows here, if I were to lower it down to the lowest point, and the highlights work exactly like the contrast, but with more whiteness to it. It only affects the whiteness. So any kind of whiteness inside your video, highlights will affect only them, and shadows will only affect the low tones. And the white and the black are self-explanatory at the below, because white and black's part, the whiteness and the black part only affects, as I said, it's self-explanatory. The white affects the whiteness of the video or the white parts of the video, and the black affects the black parts of the video. As you can see when I'm adjusting it. And that's basically it for the light part over here. Now I'm just going to go ahead and move to adjustments. I'm just going to go to 15 seconds over here and make a cut or split it. And then I'm just going to add some transitions in, make them 1 second, and apply to all. I've shown you what color and light can do. Now what adjust can do. So adjustment over here in Filmora only works with sharpen. So you can make the video blurry, or you can make the edges of all the objects much more sharper. Now over our last video, I'm going to show you what you can do with other color effects. We're going to work with a vignette. Now, as you can see, there's different forms of tools here. you have amount, you have size, you have the roundness, you have feather, you have exposure, and you have highlight. So let's go ahead and see what each and every one of these can do. VisionNet works with the borders of your screen, like the top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right corners of your video. And if I were to increase it, as you can see, the whiteness is increasing, right? As you can see, I can increase or decrease the size over here. I can also change the roundness as well. I can also change the roundness to make it a perfect circle or make it much more oval shaped. Like I can change the feather to make it look like it's like a straight circle line or circumference, or I can increase the feather and make it a much more blurry or meshy. I can increase the exposure or decrease the exposure, and I can also increase or decrease the highlights over here, as you can see. Now the amount here, if I were to decrease it, you will have a blacker border. So let's say that there are various uses for a VisionNet. Let's say you're into film production. Okay, now you're making, let's say, a World War II film. Now you are showing the first perspective, first perspective camera perception through a helmet camera, and you're has that. And let's say you have a scene where, let's say, the soldier that you're recording through the camera helmet is has been blown away by a grenade. So now you can do one thing. You can use an audio to have that high frequency squeaky sound in, and you can apply this VisionNet, because as you can see, that as you can guess, a grenade has a lot of force behind it, right? So the character flies away, the character now gets a lot of damage or is nauseous. Now everything is seeing is blurry. You can then add a timestamp or a keyframe and increase the VisionNet there, have a blurry effect added to it, and have that sound audio added to it to give an immersion of what that character has went through while getting impacted with that grenade and not dying but surviving. So, and you will see a lot of examples like this in various movies as well. So let's go ahead and continue with our class. The roundness over here, you can increase or decrease the feather as well. You can also increase the exposure as well. To have you can also use keyframes on each and every single. If I were to play it now, you'll see that the VisionNet has been applied there. So let's transition from this clip, from the third clip to the fourth clip, to see a video without the VisionNet, and to see our last clip over here with the VisionNet effect from the color. So you can use the keyframes and adjust the amounts or adjust. And the end part over here is color match. Now you can apply the comparison view over here to see two types of sources here, right? Underneath your or inside your player. So the color match works in such a way you can have two clips, okay, and compare them to each other and use the color match over here to see or to match the colors, and you can increase or decrease the values of there. So now, as you can see, I've selected my first clip over here for the reference for the entire total clip that I have over here for the 20-second video, and I've selected that frame underneath a reference, and then I'm going to press OK over here, and then I'm going to click on match over here, and now the color matched. As you can see on the right side, the current window changed the color to match the color for my first video over here. And I can also change and adjust the value to increase or decrease the amount of color match. And you also have protect skin tone option here as well underneath the color match, because it changes the overall color for the video clip, right? Now, the last time you saw it was in LUT, because LUT also changes the entire value or theme or the color of the entire video clip. Now, if I were to press OK, as you can see, it got applied and the entire color of it changed. So let's say you have multiple clips, you're making a movie or you're making any kind of video for any kind of project. It can be a lengthy video, it can be a short video, but you have a lot of complexity, a lot of things going on in your timeline, and you want to color match everything. So you can use the color match over here, which is a very cool utility here in Filmora that you can go ahead and use. And in most other softwares, you do not have color match options or utilities that much, and you need to do it manually. For example, you have Premiere Pro, right? Premiere Pro doesn't have any specific color match. If there are any like templates, external templates or any kind of presets or any kind of like utilities, you need to download them and install them in Premiere Pro. But in Filmora, you already have this as a basic default option here that you can go ahead and use anytime that you want. And it's very, very convenient for you to use it. So that'll be all for this lesson, as we have almost reached to the end of the time for this lesson. And I've showed you what you can do with the basic tools underneath color. In our next lesson, I'm going to show you what you can do with HSL curves and color wheels. So thank you for staying with me. I hope that this lesson for color was very helpful, and I'll be seeing you in our next lesson.